I was desperate, broke, exhausted, and running out of options. When I saw the ad for a job no one else wanted, I didn't think twice. By the end of the first day, I realized desperation had a price I was about to regret paying. Most people would scroll past it. The listing was brief. Caretaker needed for private property. No questions asked. No visitors. Immediate start. It didn't sound illegal. It didn't sound unsafe. But there was something about the way it refused to explain itself that made me pause. Then again, I was broke. I applied. Almost instantly, a response came. Start tomorrow. 9 a.m. Address included. Bring your ID. Nothing else required. No phone call. No interview. Just thought. I asked around my friends. Nobody had heard of the company. Nobody wanted to know what I was talking about. But I needed money. And I needed it fast. So I went. The property looked ordinary from the outside. A large, old building at the end of a quiet street. The kind of place that feels empty even in daylight. I rang the bell. No answer. The door was slightly ajar. And said it was clean. Too clean. Everything polished. Not a single personal item in sight. A woman in a gray uniform appeared. No name tag. No smile. Just a folder and a key. Follow me, she said. Her voice was calm. Neutral. Almost empty. She led me through long corridors. No signs. No labels. Every door looked identical. Each step echoed unnaturally. This is your workspace, she said. Rules are simple. You do not leave until the task is complete. You do not ask questions. You do not interact with anyone inside. I nodded, even though the hairs on my arms were standing up. I was alone. The room was bare except for a desk, a chair, and a single filing cabinet. I sat down. And that's when I noticed the first thing. The calendar on the wall was already marked with every single date for the next 2 years. All of them. No one had explained why I was here. No one had said what my tasks were. But there was something in the way the calendar stared back at me, like it knew I would fail. The first folder I opened contained instructions. Observe. Record. No deviation. There were photos. People I didn't recognize. Detailed schedules. Habits. Preferences. Everything about them catalogued with precision that made my stomach twist. Every instruction had a warning at the bottom. Failure to comply will be noted. No explanation. No reasoning. Just the warning. I spent the first few hours trying to make sense of it. I checked the building. Empty. Silent. Every room identical. Even the elevators didn't have buttons. They only stopped where someone had predetermined. Lunch break came, or what I thought was lunch break. A tray appeared outside the door. No one handed it to me. No one said a word. And that's when I noticed movement. Quick. In the corner of my vision. No one there when I turned. I tried to leave. I shouldn't have. The door wouldn't budge. I realized something. The property wasn't just a building. It was a trap. The second day started strangely. I awoke on the hard mattress they provided, stiff, every joint sore. I couldn't remember going to sleep. The folder on the desk waited for me. No greetings. No explanation. Just another set of tasks. The instructions were simple on paper. Record. Maintain detailed notes. Do not engage. Yet something about the phrasing made my stomach turn. I started with the first subject. A man I had never met, living in the city blocks nearby. Photos, schedules, habits, everything was catalogued. From my observation room, I watched him leave his apartment. He carried nothing unusual. He smiled at the building guard. Everything seemed normal. But then I noticed the small details. The way he tapped his foot on the sidewalk, exactly twice before crossing the street. The way he tilted his head at 11:17 a.m. every day to glance at something invisible. I scribbled notes furiously. I didn't understand why these things mattered, but I could feel the weight of their importance pressing down on me. Midday, I tried to leave the observation post for a water break. The door locked automatically. I realized then, I wasn't just an observer. I was part of the system. The subjects weren't random. They had been chosen. For what purpose, I didn't know. By the third subject I felt it. A creeping nausea. Something inside me knew I shouldn't be here. They didn't speak. They didn't acknowledge my presence. And yet, I could sense their awareness. Instructions escalated. Now I was told to follow a subject outside. No one explained why. No one even said if it was legal. I trailed the subject silently. Every step I took felt monitored. I wondered if they knew I was there. It started to feel like a game. Except I wasn't playing. By the afternoon, a note appeared in my folder. Do not leave until you see the truth. No explanation. Just the instruction. I spent hours watching. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The subject's movements repeated, rituals I couldn't yet understand. Then came the first anomaly. A man appeared across the street. He didn't belong. No record, no photos, no instructions. The subject glanced toward him. The stranger didn't speak. Yet the subject froze. I wrote everything down. Every detail mattered. I didn't understand why, but I knew failure had consequences. Hours later, I returned to the property. The door unlocked itself automatically. No one greeted me. No one asked questions. Back in my workspace, a new folder appeared. It was different. No names. No schedules. Just a single phrase. Observe yourself. I opened it slowly. The photos inside were with me. Every angle. Every movement. And then I realized the truth. I wasn't the observer. I was the observed. From that moment, nothing felt real. Every step I took was being watched. Every decision catalogued. Every mistake noted. The job wasn't just a job. It was an initiation. By nightfall I barely ate. My mind raced. I had questions. No one gave answers. I started noticing patterns. Subjects repeated actions. Movements almost mechanical. Every detail mattered. And then the first warning arrived. A folder slid under my door. Do not fail. Nothing else. Fear finally set in. Not sudden. Slow. Quiet. Personal. I understood that night that the job wasn't about money. It was about compliance. And failing wasn't an option. By the third day, I stopped pretending this was a job. It was a process. Something designed to strip people down slowly, layer by layer, until nothing was left but obedience. The building felt different that morning. Not quieter, but aware. Like it was paying attention to me now. I opened the new folder waiting on my desk. No instructions this time. Just a single question printed in bold letters. Why do you think you were chosen? A dry, hollow sound that didn't even feel like it came from me. Because the truth was obvious. I wasn't special. I was available. The next file answered the question for me. It contained records. Not of the subjects, but of previous caretakers. There were dozens of them. Different ages. Different backgrounds. All hired under similar circumstances. All listed as non-compliant or incomplete. None of them had end dates. No termination. No resignation. Just silence. I understood then. The job didn't end. It only replaced you. The announcement came over the building's speakers shortly after. A calm, genderless voice. This phase is nearing completion. Completion. That word sat heavy in my chest, because nothing about this felt complete. The next instruction arrived immediately. Return to the observation floor. I hesitated, then went anyway. The observation room had changed. Where there were once windows, now there were mirrors. Floor to ceiling. Every angle. Every reflection. I saw myself 100 times over. Each reflection slightly out of sync. Blinking at different moments. Breathing at different rhythms. That's when I realized the truth. The subjects weren't the experiment. The watchers were. A screen flickered on. Live footage. Of me. Walking. Standing. Thinking. Text appeared beneath the footage. Observational integrity, stable. I backed away. My heel hit something solid. A chair, strapped to the floor. I didn't sit. I ran. The building reacted instantly. Doors sealed. Lights dimmed. A slow alarm pulsed through the walls. I ducked into a side room. Locked the door. Pressed my back against it, gasping for air. That's when I found the final file. Hidden inside a maintenance cabinet. Paper, not digital. It explained everything. The property wasn't private. It was a behavioral facility, studying how long a human could observe without intervening, without questioning, without breaking. Caretakers were selected based on desperation, financial stress, social isolation, people unlikely to be missed. Failure meant reassignment. You became a subject. I dropped the file. My hands were shaking. I wasn't hired to work. I was hired to be tested. The announcement returned. Please return to the observation room. I didn't answer. I kicked open a fire exit instead. Endless stairs. I ran until my lungs burned. The exit door was unlocked. For the first time since I arrived. I burst outside. Collapsed on the pavement, breathing air that felt unreal. I didn't stop running until I reached the main road. I didn't look back. The building no longer exists. I went back months later. Empty lot. No records. No permits. Nothing. But sometimes, I still notice patterns. People repeating movements. Watching without realizing. Sometimes, I catch myself doing the same. Observing. Recording. Not intervening. Because once you learn how easy it is to watch, it's hard to stop. And I still don't know one thing. Did I escape the job? Or did I just complete it?